Study Session 8. Reading Rates and Reading Flexibility. Introduction. In this study session, I plan to discuss with you reading rates such as skimming, scanning, rapid reading rate, normal rate, and careful rate. Therein, you will see how to skim and scan and how to calculate your reading speed. Reading flexibility, the practice of varying one's speed of reading, is an essential aspect of reading. It is certain that you cannot read every textbook, every chapter in a book, every paragraph in a book at the same rate. The rate will differ in accordance with the difficulty of the text, your previous background, your purpose, and your level of motivation. Thus, we will see how reading is to be done with flexibility. Learning outcomes. When you've studied this session, you should be able to 1. Skim and analyze skimming rates. 2. Scan and analyze scanning rates. Reading rates as a strategy to purposeful reading. You will recall that in study session 5, you've been taught the importance of encoding the information contained in the text you're reading in order to be able to store and retrieve such information. It is essential to stress that the rate at which you read helps this important stage of memory. Good reading is purposeful reading. This is to say that you must be quite certain about your reasons for reading a particular book or selection before you start reading. This is because the purpose of reading often determines the most appropriate reading technique. For example, you may read books and other materials with a view to doing the following. 1. Finding and understanding the main idea or following the trend of thought. 2. Selecting significant details or comprehending detailed information. 3. Answering specific questions and locating certain facts of information. 4. Deriving pleasure and general knowledge through vicarious experience and creative reading. And 5. Following given directions about how to do or make something. You should allow your purpose to influence your strategies. The strategy being considered in this study session is the reading rate. This study session will also discuss reading flexibility, which is the practice of varying your speed of reading to suit your purpose in reading. The reading rates that will be considered are as follows. A. Skimming, scanning. C. Rapid reading rate. D. Normal rate and careful rate. Let us examine them in that order. Skimming and skimming rates. In this unit, you will be exposed to the meaning of skimming and the skimming rate. Unit outcomes. Skimming, extremely fast rate. Skimming is an extremely valuable skill to students, research workers, and other people involved in academic work. As a reader, it enables you to extract relevant information from the various sources used in your study. Skimming may be defined as the fastest reading rate possible. It is reading at a rate which will enable you to cover material in a hurry or in a remarkably short time. This rate is particularly adopted when high comprehension of material is not essential, when you are in search of specific information, and when you desire to have no more than a general impression of what is said in the particular book of selection. When you skim, you may leave out whole sentences, whole paragraphs, and even whole pages. When you glance at the headlines and sub-headlines of your newspaper every morning, you are skimming. When you try to locate a telephone number in a telephone directory, you are skimming. When you check an encyclopedia for a specific fact, you are skimming. When you get into a supermarket and read the names of different departments, such as fruits, dairy, frozen meats, drinks, you are skimming to decide where to do your shopping. In fact, skimming can be useful to anyone who can read and write. How to skim. Since reading rates vary according to individual capability. So the type and difficult level of the material to be skimmed, it is difficult to suggest a definite procedure for skimming. However, a general procedure is suggested for skimming. Steps to follow when skimming for an answer to a question. 1. Preview the article, the book, the passage, and the pages to find out where the answer or other bits of information may be located. 2. Use guide words or phrases to help direct you to the answer. 3. As you skim an article, your eyes move across the text rapidly and effectively. Once you come across the guide word or words, read carefully and chances are that you will locate the answer you are looking for. 4. You must force yourself to speed up your skimming. Remember your purpose. Do not delay unnecessarily. It is impossible for you to read thoroughly every bit of reading materials that come to your attention. You are naturally selective. Skimming to get a general idea of the contents. 1. Preview the article first. This immediately gives you a summary of the story or discuss. 2. Read the first paragraph thoroughly. The first paragraph usually presents the main ideas of the story. 3. Read the first sentence of each paragraph of the article because good writers normally place the main idea of a paragraph in the first sentence. Keep in mind that speed is essential. That is why you're skimming anyway. Whatever you read should be accomplished as quickly as possible without losing the thought. 4. Read the last paragraph thoroughly. Writers normally want to summarize all their basic ideas in the last paragraph. It is only then you can get the main ideas. Once you have completed these 4 steps, you will have provided yourself with a summary of the contents of the selection in as short time as possible. Work type, recreational. Work type. A. Reading to review familiar material. Recreational. A. To read narrative material primarily for the plot. B. To get the main idea or central thought. B. To read information material for pleasure. C. To get information for temporary use. C. To reread familiar material. Normal reading rate, medium slow or average. Work type, recreational. Work type. A. To find answers to specific questions. Recreational. A. To appreciate beauty of literary style. B. To grasp the relation of details to main. B. To keep up with current idea events. C. To read material of average difficulty. C. To read with the intention of being able to retell the story later. Careful reading rate. Very slow and thoughtfully. Work type. Recreational. Work type. A. To master content including details. Recreational. A. To read material with unusual vocabulary or style. B. To evaluate material. B. To read with the intention of memorizing interesting details. C. To get details in sequence as in following directions. C. To get details in sequence as in the following directions. 1. To outline, summarize or paraphrase. 2. To analyze author's presentation. 3. To solve problems. Your speed. Your reading speed can be determined by means of this formula. Passage times 60 over time spent in seconds. For example, if you spend 2 minutes and 10 seconds, that is 130 seconds on a passage of 500 words in length, your speed may be determined as follows. 500 times 60 over 130 would give you 230.76, which is 231 approximately. Comprehension score. There are many exercises meant to test your speed and comprehension score in the book, Faster Reading Through Practice by SS8. Each exercise carries 10 questions. Check your answer against the answers given for each exercise at the end of the book. Then, award yourself 1 mark for every correct answer. For purposes of training, a comprehension score of 7 over 10 or 70% is satisfactory. If your scores are consistently higher than this, then you can very well read faster without loss of comprehension. However, if they are consistently lower, there is a problem which needs remediation. The following table provides the basis against which you can evaluate your reading speed and comprehension skill. Generally, most students are concerned about their speed of reading. This concern is born out of inability to cope with the piles of books in form of reading assignments. This concern about rate of reading is understandable. The person who can read a selection rapidly and still accomplish his purpose has a distinct advantage over the one who cannot. The individual who always reads slowly will not have time to read as much interesting and significant material as the one who reads rapidly. Through practice, your reading ratio can be improved, barring problems of low intelligence. Lack of interest can be dealt with if you set attainable goals and purposes. Even for someone who can claim to be a fast reader, reading flexibility is a must. As we said earlier, flexibility allows you to vary your speed of reading to suit your purpose. Let us now discuss reading flexibility. Flexibility is the practice of varying your speed of reading to build your purpose in reading a particular selection in order to eat the textual difficulty of that selection. A flexible reader is really a versatile reader. He can, in fact, read the same material with varying reading rates, either within the same reading session or at different reading sessions of presumably short durations. Study session summary. This study session has been able to teach you the meanings of skimming and scanning, how to skim and scan, and reading rates and reading flexibility. Skimming and scanning are complementary. Skimming is used for a speedy coverage of the text, and scanning is employed when the appropriate section has been located. End of study session 8. Thanks for listening.